They spotted him near the tree line, a Bengal tiger, broad, calm, focused. No roar, no crouch, just a slow, deliberate walk towards something hidden from view. Then they saw it, a gaur, nearly 1,500 pounds of raw power, horned, alert, easily capable of killing a tiger in a head-on clash. But this wouldn't be a clash. The tiger crept closer, measured every step, then launched. One strike, claws to the neck, jaws locked behind the skull. The impact was brutal, precise, but not instant. The gaur staggered, stumbled, then slowly dropped, its legs buckling beneath it over the course of minutes. The safari jeep stayed frozen. No one breathed. It was one of the rarest kills ever filmed in the wild, not because it was violent, but because it was patient. This is how Bengal tigers rule, not with noise, not with chaos, with calculation and silence that ends in collapse. The cub that watched too closely. A young tiger crouches at the edge of a ravine. Below, a herd of chital deer grazes, but the tiger doesn't move. It watches, intently, every ear twitch, every hoof step, not to attack, but to understand. Because this isn't a hunt, it's a lesson. One passed not by instruction, but by blood. And sometimes, the lesson begins long before the pounce. Just the way a deer tilts its ear becomes a diagram of opportunity. For a cub, watching is a kind of blueprinting, mapping failure before making it. This is Ranthambhore National Park, India, a place where tiger cubs spend nearly 2 years shadowing their mother, not just learning to kill, but when not to. They're shown how to approach without wind, how to wait for panic, and how to strike only when escape becomes impossible. Cubs practice on small prey, birds, rodents, lizards, but they don't pounce at random. They study first. One tigress was filmed abandoning a kill path mid-stalk, not because it failed, but because her cub hadn't yet learned where the wind was pointing. Only about 1 in 10 tiger hunts succeed. That failure rate would doom most predators, but not this one, because the cub doesn't need instinct. It needs memory. It needs calibration. These aren't just kills, they're equations solved under pressure. And when it finally does strike, not from luck but from calculation, it won't be just another jungle cat. It'll be the jungle's future apex hunter. A machine in silence and muscle. A full-grown Bengal tiger can weigh over 570 pounds and measure 10 feet from nose to tail. That size alone is intimidating, but what makes it lethal is motion. In a 5-yard dash, it can hit 40 miles per hour, not over open plains, through thick brush, uphill, at night. Its spine is built for that velocity, coiled like a spring, stretching and contracting with every stride. Even the tail plays a role, counterbalancing mid-air to guide turns like a rudder. Its forelimbs are packed with fast twitch muscle, letting it lift prey larger than itself. Each paw, nearly the size of a dinner plate, conceals razor-sharp retractable claws. One swipe can puncture ribs. One bite delivered with nearly 1,050 pounds per square inch can crush a windpipe or snap a spinal cord. And its shoulder blades, not fused to the skeleton, they float, allowing greater reach and strike torque than any canine predator could match. A tiger doesn't just hit hard, it hits precisely with anatomical authority. The real edge is silence. Tigers walk on padded toes that absorb shock and minimize sound. Their whiskers sense air pressure changes. Their fur pattern, black on orange, fragments their outline in low light, making them vanish from sight even in motion. This is more than stealth, it's sculpted ambush, a biological ghost designed to close the distance, hit without warning, and disappear again before the jungle knows what happened. Ambush by design. In the Sundarbans, a flooded forest spanning India and Bangladesh, Bengal tigers face an unusual challenge. Prey moves with the tide. Terrain shifts daily. One misstep, and the hunter sinks in the muck. But here, tigers do what few land predators ever attempt. They plan around water. They know the rhythm of currents, when fish enter the creeks, when deer are most vulnerable in the mangroves. These aren't instincts, they're environmental readings, logged and learned. They stalk from islands, time attacks to tidal movements, and even swim for miles to cut off prey. Locals speak of tigers that attack boats. Some say in defense, others say out of learned aggression. But what researchers observe is even stranger: the patience. Sundarbans tigers have been seen watching goat pens across rivers for hours before swimming across under moonlight. In one case, a tiger lay submerged with only its nostrils visible for 45 minutes before launching a silent attack at dusk. This isn't chaos, it's calculation. These tigers use the landscape like a chessboard. They test routes, use wind, circle back if conditions change. They don't sprint blindly. They wait for positioning, for angles. Each ambush isn't just reflex. It's a response to terrain, wind, prey behavior, and light. And when the moment comes, it's not a chase. It's a trap closing. One that was set hours ago, maybe days. The bloodline that remembers. In the heart of Ranthambhore, a tigress moves through the trees, her cubs close behind. She doesn't call to them, she doesn't slow down, but every move she makes, they mirror. Her path becomes theirs. Even the pauses, when she stops to listen, become part of their pacing. Each hesitation is a lesson. Each flick of her ear is an unspoken command. It's not just a journey. It's a transfer of strategy written in movement. Tiger society isn't built on pride or pack. It's built on legacy. Cubs stay with their mother for up to 2 years, absorbing everything: how to hunt, where to rest, when to fight. It's not teaching in the human sense. There are no lessons. But every day is an education, and the tigress is the archive. In one long-term study, cubs were seen revisiting kill sites their mothers had favored, even after separation, relying on memories, not just instinct. Her memory shapes survival. She knows which waterholes hold prey, which scent trails mean danger. She remembers where she fought and where she almost died. And through her movements, those memories pass on. Not through words, through repetition, through instinct that began as observation. And when she disappears, when the cubs finally split off to claim forests of their own, they don't leave her behind. They carry her strategy in every step they take. We've seen how tiger mothers pass on memory, but not all memories stay in the forest. In one case near Kaziranga, a tiger didn't run from humans. It watched them, waited, then circled back. Some say it was stalking, others say it was confused, but the truth may be darker. It remembered them, because not every predator avoids the village lights. Some learn to move through them. Later on, we'll return to that moment where tiger meets human in a narrow corridor, and neither backs down. But first, what lets a tiger hunt in the dark? In the next chapter, we enter the jungle after sunset, where sight, sound, and silence become weapons sharpened by years of practice. The sixth sense. The sun has vanished. The forest breathes slower, but for the tiger, this is clarity. Its vision sharpens under moonlight. A mirror-like layer behind the retina bounces light twice, giving it sight in conditions that would leave most animals blind. A flick of an ear, a quiver in the bush. That's all it needs. In thick jungle, where visibility drops to feet, not yards, it's these faint tremors that define a kill. But the eyes are just one piece. The tiger's whiskers are hypersensitive, long, stiff, and tuned to shifts in air pressure. They can sense obstacles in darkness, detect movement behind foliage, even read the shape of prey before it's visible. Whiskers around the muzzle and above the eyes act like radar, constantly scanning the space ahead. They can even detect the vibrations left in the air by a bird's wing beat or the fleeing breath of a deer. And the nose? A full sensory command center. Tigers smell through a Jacobson's organ located on the roof of the mouth that reads chemical messages in urine, blood, even breath. Cubs watch their mother react to each scent, learning which smells mean foods and which mean rivals. Researchers have documented tigers using scent trails not just to hunt, but to avoid confrontation, circling hours out of their way to keep the peace. By the time a tiger hunts alone, it's not just powerful, it's perceptive, an apex predator with its senses set to lethal precision. The tiger who changed direction. He didn't charge, he watched, head low, eyes locked. A forest guard had entered the patrol path alone, as he had done many times, but this time, the tiger didn't vanish into the brush. This time, it advanced, fast, silent, and final. The body was found hours later. The strike had been clean. One blow, one bite. No feeding, no dragging, just decision. The tiger was known. T24 they called him. Ustad, a dominant male in Ranthambhore's core zone. Over 5 years, 4 human deaths were linked to his territory, but locals said he was calm. Guides called him a star. Tourists saw him walk beside jeeps without so much as a glance. He never showed fear, but he also never showed warning. That was the issue. Officials feared what he'd become, a tiger who didn't run from humans because he remembered them. In 2015, he was tranquilized and relocated to a zoo, not for attacking, for what he might do next. Activists protested, courts ruled, debates raged. Was he a man-eater, a victim of proximity, or something else entirely? A predator whose memory had shifted how he calculated risk. We'll never know, because once removed, T24 never walked the forest again. But in his absence, one truth remained. When a tiger no longer fears us, it forces us to fear what we've created. The mourning tree. She returned to the same spot for 3 days, a tigress circling a cluster of trees near a dry stream bed. Rangers assumed she was hunting, but there was no kill, no activity, just one detail, a patch of flattened grass and the scent of decay. Her tracks were clear, spirals, pauses, tight circles. She wasn't searching outward, she was orbiting something internal. A cub had died there, weeks earlier, flooded out during monsoon season, gone before it could be pulled to safety. What the camera traps showed next was harder to explain. The mother nudged the ground gently, sat beside it, then lay down, head resting against the soil, not searching, not feeding, just still. Not once did she alert to passing sounds. Her posture didn't read as defensive, it read as reflective. This wasn't territorial, it wasn't hunger-driven. It was presence, proximity, something quieter than grief, but heavier than instinct. Tigers aren't known for returning to the same place unless food or safety is involved. But this time neither applied, and when she finally walked away, she looked back. Just once. Some scientists say this is coincidence, others aren't so sure, because tigers don't speak in ways we can translate, but sometimes they act in ways we recognize all too well. The rogue in the corridor. In the buffer zone between 2 reserves, villagers found the signs first, deep claw marks on a banyan trunk. Not old, not defensive, a message. Days later, a forest patrol spotted the source, a massive male tiger with scars across his flank, moving alone and fast. He wasn't hunting, he was searching. Every scent mark, every breeze, he read like a code. What unfolded next was brief, but brutal. Camera traps later revealed the clash. A younger male, freshly established, marking a waterhole. The older tiger approached low, then exploded in a sprint. The fight lasted under a minute. Rake in paws, tail lashes, and a final bone-snapping bite to the neck. No hesitation, no theatrics, just outcome. When it ended, the older male stood silent over the body, then vanished into the undergrowth before vultures arrived. Territory isn't passed down, it's taken. These aren't ceremonial exchanges, they're coups. And this rogue had been expelled from his old range months earlier, likely by his own brother. Now, he moved like a ghost, living between strongholds, waiting for signs of weakness. In the wild, dominance has no medals, just survivors. For solitary predators, coexistence isn't a strategy, it's a gamble. And sometimes, even in silence, a war is being fought between shadows. The village that waited. In the narrow corridor between Kaziranga and the Kabi Hills, a tiger began appearing at the forest edge, always near dusk. First, it took cattle. Then, it took nothing, just watched. Locals grew uneasy. Fences were repaired, firecrackers tested. But the tiger kept coming, closer each time, and then it vanished, for weeks. The stillness that followed was worse than the visits. What the forest department discovered later explained everything. A man gathering wood had been attacked, killed instantly. No signs of feeding, just a clean neck strike, the kind reserved for prey. Some said it was mistaken identity. Others said the tiger had been waiting. But those close to the site said the animal didn't flee afterward. It lingered, pacing, watching. Rangers who arrived first said the forest around it was silent. Birds absent, dogs hiding, cattle restless. This wasn't a man-eater. Not yet. But it wasn't avoiding people anymore. And that, officials knew, was a shift that could escalate. One wrong hunt, one wrong encounter, and the dynamic breaks. When apex predators lose their fear of us, the boundary breaks. And when it breaks in India's shrinking forests, conflict follows. Not because tigers are monsters, but because we are building villages where they remember killing. The pattern in the fur. Striped, solitary, silent. From the river deltas of Bengal to the hardwood forests of central India, the tiger's power lies not just in its body, but in its blueprint, the arc of its shoulders, the timing of its breath. These aren't just physical traits, they're inherited rhythms coded not only in DNA, but in movement passed through matriarchs. Cubs don't just inherit stripes, they inherit methods, risk tolerance, shadow roots. As landscapes change, so do their behaviors. Some learn to swim further, some adapt to dry heat, some grow bolder in the presence of humans, and some disappear before they're seen at all. Wildlife biologists now track entire bloodlines through camera trap behavior, how long a tiger pauses before a kill or which scent marks it avoids. These aren't patterns, they're preferences handed down. This isn't instinct, it's cultural divergence. And one day, we may find tigers with behaviors so different, so precise to their terrain, that they are no longer just one species, but many, evolving through learned memory, not geographic borders. The future of the Bengal tiger may not roar. It may whisper, along waterlines, migration paths, abandoned trails. But if we listen closely, that whisper will say, I was here, I watched, I adapted, and I remember. The Bengal tiger is not a ghost, it is presence, measured in paw prints, memory, and motion. It doesn't chase power, it wears it, in the dark, in silence, in decisions passed down across generations. Its kingdom isn't marked by thrones, it's marked by forests that still fall quiet when the wind changes. And in every shadow that watches back, it reminds us, there is no apex without intelligence, and no monarch without silence.